Hello friends, welcome back to my blog. I really appreciate you coming back in today. Today I'm doing an update of my bearded dragon tank. I've gotten so many positive comments on the last video that I did almost a year ago on doing a bioactive tank, but I've had a lot of questions about what would you do different? Can you do an update? So there are some things that need to be updated with the tank, and so we're going to run through those. We're going to take care of it, and then we're going to see what it looks like afterwards. First of all, the lights. The lights, I love the lights. I've actually had a lot of comments in my last video about, oh, those are the wrong lights. These are not the wrong lights, guys. These are mercury vapor bulbs. They have UVA and UVB. They put out plenty of heat. Everything's going great in there in terms of these lights, so don't worry about the lights. But over here is too dark for the plants. I've moved the tank. It used to be in my office right outside the window. Now I've moved it in here and it's too dark and well, come take a look. You can see what happened to the rosemary here. I had several other plants in here. They died pretty quickly, and I think that had to do with the fact that I cleaned too much of the soil off, damaged their roots when I put them in. The rosemary did really well until I moved the tank, and now it's too shady, and it just died almost right away. If we take a look here at the soil is doing great. I am happy with the soil. It is feeding the cleanup crew really well, but it's not deep enough. The soil needs to be deeper for a couple reasons. One, it needs to be deeper for the plants. It needs to also be deeper to moderate the humidity so I don't have to keep watering it, because what would happen when you water it, the water is on the surface and it raises the humidity. But if your soil is deeper, you don't have to water it as often. So when you do water it, the water seeps in, the surface dries, it stays, the humidity stays better in the tank, but there's actually more moisture in there for the plants and for the cleanup crew. So we're going to make it deeper, at least in part of the tank. Plants, I've gotten 3 more plants to add in here. We're going to add another rosemary, which did really well. Thyme, always good to add herbs as long as you can take care of them in there. And also going to add a grass, a blue fescue in there, which can handle a little bit of drought. So it should do pretty well as well. The layout, I'm very happy with the layout. We have a bright side. We are a warm side, we have a cooler side, we have a drier side, we have a humid side. The layout is doing really well in the tank, but I don't like the food bowl. The food bowl is right up here up front. Take a look, guys. The food bowl is right up here up front. It's under the hot lights. I put the vegetables and the leafy greens in there and they get cooked really quickly. So I'm going to make a little space over here to the side. I'm going to cut off this part of this log right here. And then when I do that, that'll make space for the vegetable bowl over here. I'm going to add a second food bowl for the insects, and I've got a new bowl, one that's got a little ridge on it, so the bugs will stay in and I can leave them in there and not have to worry about it. Because right now, I've actually got some roaches running wild in here. I don't want a breeding colony of roaches in here. That's just not going to be a good thing. The cleanup crew is doing really well. At least the isopods are. I don't know about the springtails. I can't find any. I think the springtails have probably died off. I used to be able to see them right there at the soil line, but I think the cleanup crew, it just got too dry in here for them in terms of the springtails. The isopods are doing great, and they're doing the best job anyway. There's not mold or mildew or anything like that in here for the springtails, so they're not that necessary anyway, I don't think. The temperature, the humidity is doing wonderfully. The temperature is regularly 80 to 90 degrees over here on the warm side. A little bit cooler on the cool side, not too much cooler. Right now, the humidity over here is 28%, which is pretty good humidity. Sometimes it gets a little higher. Look, I know a lot of y'all are worried about the humidity with your bearded dragon. Humidity by itself is not the issue, but you need air movement. You don't want any mold, you don't want any mildew, and as long as you do that, you have movement of air, no mold, no mildew. If your humidity is in the 40s, it's not a big deal. And with the air conditioning, it's going to keep the humidity down a lot. I don't want to put a lid on the tank because I want lots of air movement, which is one reason why I can't have the soil too high, because then it would raise the logs up. I mean, I suppose I could cut them down, but I don't want Digi to be able to climb out. And take a look at how good he's doing. Come here, buddy. Look at this little monster. He is doing fantastic. Great color on him. Very healthy. Eats well. Every now and then I take him outside, and you know what? I think he loves it out there. I just sit with him, let him be in the sunlight. He's very alert, and he just seems to be really enjoy it when I take him outside for a time. All right, come on back in there, buddy. So we're going to get started on this. Going to do a little hyperspeed so you can see what goes on, but then we'll come back and talk about the changes at the end. All right, so right now I'm just cleaning everything out to get stuff out of the way so I can add the soil on this side over here and some more plants. And you know, as I'm doing this, I see lots of springtails actually. I move the leaves back and there are just oodles and oodles of springtails down there, isopods down there, so they are doing their job. I will say, if you go bioactive, I really like adding the leaves. The leaves helps keep the bearded dragon clean. It also prevents him from eating dirt or anything that might be in the dirt. But be sure that you stock up on leaves because your cleanup crew will devastate the leaves over the winter. So if you gather your leaves and bake them off in the fall, be sure you hold up a big old bag of them, keep them off to the side so you can use them and replenish maybe early in the spring. I mean, like, look at this. There are so many isopods. Look at that. They are all over the place. There must be hundreds of them in here, which is why I don't smell any poop. I see a little bit in there, but I never see more than like 1 or 2 piles at the most. Every now and then I clean it out, but not very often. This is what you don't want. See in the plants, all those white spots? That's perlite. You really want to try to get rid of that. I think that's what I did to the other plants. I stripped too much away, not only from the top, but all the way through the root system. And it killed the other plants before I even had a chance to plant them. But you really don't want a bunch of perlite in there. That is indigestible matter, and the size is something that your bearded dragon could eat easily, and it could lead to impaction. I'm not worried about the sand and the soil. It's just all mixed up in together there, and the organic matter. I'm not worried about that. That should pass through. But the perlite, it's just the wrong size. So as I'm cleaning this out, I've come across several roaches in there that are just running amok, and I want to put a stop to that. I do not want a breeding population of roaches in my tank. Digi sleeps at night. He doesn't go hunting at night. The roaches come out at night, so he's not really eating them during the day because they're in hiding. So I do want to clear the roaches out when I see them, and I'm definitely excited about that new food bowl that's got the rim on the edge, so I can put the roaches in there and leave them in there, but they can't get out. All right, guys, so here's the new plants we're putting in here. We've got this rosemary here that I got from the garden center. Hope there's not a lot of perlite in that. If there is, I'm going to sink it lower and cover the top of it with soil so that Digi won't eat the perlite. I don't want to scrape a bunch off because I'm afraid it'll kill the plant. I will try to do it a little bit. Here's some blue fescue, which should do pretty well in the drought, and it'll turn a brighter color blue when it's dry as well. And this is some thyme, more of a ground cover, should be creeping a little bit. It's got some flowers on it too. Definitely very edible. Maybe he'll munch on this. So this is the same soil mix that was in my first video, which I will link to. I really like it a lot. It's holding up really well. It has a good texture. I feel like it's safe. Holds humidity on the inside, but also dries out on the top. And he can dig in it if he wants to. Getting them isopods, aren't you, buddy? You know, sometimes when I can't get Digi to eat, I feed him something different. Instead of the roaches, I'll feed him a big bunch of isopods. He loves it. All right, that part is set up. we're gonna add, I've got a little more soil left over, so I'm gonna add a little bit over here just because it's really super thin. And if he digs down, I don't want him to mess up the substrate at the very bottom. So just gonna add a little bit there. I don't have a ton left, but gonna add what I got. These big pieces of bark right here are great for your cleanup crew. You turn them over, you'll always see little guys hanging out underneath there. See what I mean? I don't want them in there. All right, we got the soil in place, we got the plants in place. We've added more soil, just a little bit to the low end. We've added a lot of soil to the high end for the benefit of the plants and also for a good spot for him to dig. I've cleaned out, I think, all the wild roaches that managed to escape the food bowl. Now let me show you the new equipment that's going to be added. Here we have a full spectrum grow light with LEDs, so it won't add off a ton of heat, but it will add the light that the plants need. You don't want to get too hot in there. There needs to be a cooler zone in the tank for your beardy so he can escape the heat if he chooses to do so. Here a very nice reflecting dome to put the grow light in, and it will hang obviously over the plants on the other side. And this is the bracket to hold the hanging light fixture up. I had to get an extra long one because the tank is extra tall. And lastly, ironically, I'm super excited about this one, probably most of all. This is the new food bowl. So this food bowl has a super smooth side plus a little lip. So any roaches or mealworms or any insects you put in there, not crickets, crickets could jump out, but any of those climbing kind of insects would not be able to get out, and he can have access to them anytime during the day. I don't have to sit and watch him eat all the time, because sometimes, honestly, that is a pain. So I'm really excited about this. I'm gonna have to wash it before I put it in though. All right, let's set up all those things. So, might have a problem with the bulb, I don't know. Let me get just a regular household bulb and see if that works in the fixture. All right, well, a regular household bulb works. Let's try that LED again. All right, well, that looks like it's not working for some reason. I'm gonna test it with some other fixtures in the house and see if, I don't know, see what the deal is, do a little research. I'll report back in a little bit. So I have checked the light and other light fixtures in the house, several other light fixtures. It does not work. So brand new, out of the box, doesn't work. I'm gonna contact the manufacturer and hopefully they'll replace that. And if there's any issues, so this video is gonna be on pause until I get a resolution to this grow light, and then I'll report back. Hopefully I'll be able to report back good customer service. So for you, it's gonna be instantaneous. Here we go. All right guys, we're back. I will say this, excellent customer service. Let's hope the bulb works. I contacted the manufacturer. They got back with me within 12 hours. Asked for my address, order number, gave them that. They sent it right away. I got it within a couple days. So here we are. Let's see if the grow light works, because we need this for the plants. We got to have a grow light. All right, hopefully this will work. Taking it out very carefully. All right, let's put it in. We'll take the cap off. All right, the bulb's in securely. Moment of truth. There it is. We got a grow light for the plants. That looks really cool. It adds a really nice blue tone to this side that kind of illuminates the sky in the Uluru poster in the background, which I really like. So that's going to just help the plants grow. I feel like the plants are going to be good. So here is the bearded dragon setup, guys. It is the bioactive setup. You have cleanup crew, which is meant to clean up waste from the animals and the food. He's hiding, by the way. Digi's over there hiding. I'll pull it out here in just a minute. We're going to feed him. We've got some leaves in there to keep the soil off of him, to help keep him clean. And also, we just don't want him to eat too much of it. He might eat a little bit of it. They do in nature. But as long as we don't have any large, unnatural, solid pieces in there, he's going to be okay. And he does look fine today. He looked like he's been chilling out. He's got him a nice little well underneath his cage there. I tell you what, though, I don't know, that grow light might be my favorite thing now. One of my favorite things is this bowl right here. I love this bowl because I can just put the roaches in and walk away and not have to worry about it. They're not going to run around all over the tank because it has that little edge on the bowl, which is super nice. So going to put some roaches in there, going to put some food in there, and everything is looking great. All right, here we go. We got some salad for Digi here. He's got a variety of lettuces and greens in here, some grated carrots and diced red pepper. Plenty of vegetables, lots of vitamins in there for him. There we go, takes care of that. Plus a little dusting of calcium powder. He's still not doing a good job on his vegetables. He still prefers the insects. And we've got about 20 roaches in here or so, 15 or 20. And away they go. I do like to make him aware that he's got a fresh batch of food. Come on out, buddy. There you go, look. Food. Oh yeah, that looks delicious. So he can get in, but they can't get out. And I am loving that food bowl. Guys, I am going to put a link to the products in the description down below. I am not making anything off this video. This is not a sponsored video. I just like these products. Come on, get in there. Time to eat. Sometimes he misses. All right, so let's take a tour of the tank one last time. So these are the plants, guys. Up in the top, we have the herb rosemary, and bottom left there, we have the herb thyme, and on the right, we have some blue fescue that I think gives it a really nice natural look. All the leaves were gathered and baked to sterilize them in an oven for about 45 minutes at 300 degrees, might have been 250. And here we have his food bowl, which is not under the hot lights, but is instead on the cooler side of the tank. The logs were collected and sterilized as well. They are driftwood sycamore. There's Digi. The rocks were collected and sterilized as well. You can see the current temperature and humidity, a balmy 92.5 and a dry 24%. This morning it was 47%, I believe it was. So your humidity will fluctuate just like it does in nature. And getting up into the high 40s is not a big deal at all. That's a tour of my Bioactive tank, guys. I want you to know that I sincerely appreciate your feedback on the first video that I imported about a year ago, and I took many suggestions that you folks implemented and have made modifications. I hope you can learn a little bit of something from the comments down below. I appreciate further comments as well, so feel free to leave those down below as well. And I hope you can learn something from what I've put together here. I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope you'll join me for my next video. Thanks again. Bye-bye.